get this crowd going. Now, come on, get him up, get him up, get him up. Come on, keep going. Come on, that's in your hammy. Get your arms going. Let's go get these people going.
Hello, class, and welcome to our presentation on the great coach and leader, Pete Carroll. Anthony, Raquel, Matthew, Jackson, and I will be taking you through his life, career, and leading principles to his coaching, as well as various ventures he created through his win forever mentality. I want to start by giving you some insight into who Pete Carroll is and what led him down the path of coaching and into the leader that we see today. Pete's love for sports started at an early age. While attending Redwood High School, he played football, basketball, and baseball, but before being allowed to play, he had to provide a doctor's note clearing him for his small stature. Being the dedicated individual that he was, he provided the required note and went on to play all three sports throughout his high school career. During his senior year, he earned the title of Athlete of the Year due to his athleticism and skill in these three sports. Pete then went on to play football in college at University of the Pacific, where he earned all conference honors following each season that he played. After college, he tried out for the World Football League's Honolulu Hawaiians, but did not make the team in part due to a shoulder injury he had suffered. Pete then went on to be a graduate assistant for his old coach at University of the Pacific, where he started his coaching career. While coaching at Pacific, he earned his master's degree in physical education and took classes in human psychology that opened his perspective on the power of the mind. There were 4 other colleges Pete coached for before going into the NFL. While coaching the NFL, the most notable teams he coached for were the Jets and the Patriots. However, he ended up getting fired after only a short stint of head coach for each of these teams. Pete's main coaching philosophy was developed following his firings and after reading a book titled The Inner Game of Tennis. The philosophy he took from this book and began to implement in his coaching style was all about clearing the clutter in the interactions between your conscious and subconscious mind. He also reinforces that focus, clarity, and belief in yourself are what allows you to express your ability without discursive thoughts and concerns. Another book he pulled lessons from was one written by the artist of the band The Grateful Dead. This is where he found his philosophy that is summarized into I am a competitor. This sticks with him throughout his career and what he continues to live by as he coaches today. In this short clip, you will hear him discuss this further.
A great coach once said that the best players don't always win. The players that play the best do. That's why we work so hard. That's why we train so hard. That's why we focus so much on practicing better than anybody's ever practiced before.
Better than anybody else has ever practiced before?
That's the whole idea. You want to do things better than it's ever been done before, don't you?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jackson McKenzie, and today I'm going to talk to you about Pete Carroll's leadership. So, Pete Carroll is different for a football coach because he's a transformational leader. And a transformational leader works to enhance the motivation of his team. He engages his team by directing their behavior toward a shared vision. And on a football field, what that means is, in Pete Carroll's words, be better than they were before, to be the best that they can.
Let's remember how this worked. It worked by the whole team playing together. That's how championship winning football is all about. We've been doing this for a long time. I know I've said that a lot of times to you. That's exactly the formula. It don't matter who we play. This is how we play. This is what we do. Let's make sure we capture this. It's too freaking important. Let's capture exactly how this happened and just keep on recreating it 1 week at a time.
What you typically see with a football coach is a transactional leader. And what that means is, hey, that football coach is going to be the ultimate dictator on supervision, on organization, and on group performance. And he's going to be authoritative. That transactional leader is going to say, you're going to meet this demand, and if you don't, you're going to be punished. And maybe Pete Carroll realized early on, working in SC, working with college students, players, that that authoritative leadership style wasn't his style, and it didn't have the best results. So, he stuck to his guns. He stuck to being a transformational leader for his own style. And being fired twice, being called too soft, it probably did, and he said it did phase him, but he did not deviate from his on being a transformational leader. I can directly associate his presence as a leader with his success, and the reason is because his success, paying attention to details, being charismatic, having high emotional intelligence, he was able to relate and connect with his players. And when you're able to relate and connect with your subordinates as a leader, you develop a relationship. And he was able to develop a relationship with all of his players, in which, they didn't want to let him down. They looked up to him and they wanted to be the best that they could be. It's like having a leader that you love, and when you have a leader that you love, you don't want to let them down, as opposed to having that authoritative dictator. You don't care if you let them down, you just don't want to get caught.
So how exactly does Pete Carroll achieve his leadership vision of being better? First and foremost, he is not worried about being a championship team. He instead focuses on teaching his teams to do their best. Pete Carroll has created a formula to get performance to be at its very best by getting into the mindset of his players. His method is very effective, as we can see from the numerous championship trophies his teams have earned. His formula consists of building and developing his players, both as individuals and as a team. He does so with the following. The first and most important part of the formula is confidence. The player has to be confident in his abilities and what he is capable of doing. As a coach, Pete Carroll must prove to the player why they deserve to be confident in their own abilities during practices and any other opportunities to show the player that he can trust in his own abilities and that he will be okay and capable of achieving what is being asked of him. The second part of the formula is trust. The player must prove to himself and to his teammates that he can be trusted. If the player believes in himself and what is going on around him, he will be able to focus, which is what the confidence and the trust lead up to. The focus allows the players to perform and to not be distracted by their own insecurities or lack of trust of those around them. So once again, Pete Carroll's goal is for his players to be at their best. And if that's good enough to win a game, great. And if it is not, that is also okay. Pete Carroll's techniques of getting into the mindset of his players is a prime example of a growth mindset leadership. He has taken his leadership and coaching skills outside of the football field and does so by having a personal mission of saving lives and changing the negative mindset and thoughts of children in less fortunate situations, as well as gang members. Some examples of how he does this is by creating hope in the hearts and minds of young children by inviting them to dream bigger. He also has gone far out of his comfort zone to teach conflict resolution techniques to gang members. He began this work by creating a nonprofit organization, Make a Better LA.
Hey class, one of the reasons why we wanted to choose Pete Carroll is because of his passion for everything that he does. Obviously he has ties to California and Washington, but I want to start with something from 2002 right here in LA. Carroll is a man of such empathy that on his way to USC one morning, he heard about the rise of gang violence. Just that week, 7 people had been killed. Because of this news, he knew he had to do something. Carroll gathered other community leaders to create a program called A Better LA. In this program, Carroll has gone to communities with high gang violence, such as Watts, and has talked to adults as well as children about gang violence and preached leadership in the way that he is known for. Through Carroll's compassion and charisma, it's quoted that homicide rates in LA have drastically dropped since its founding. With such success in his LA program, he then went to Seattle in 2011 and did the same thing there. As you can guess, it's called A Better Seattle. Lastly, through Pete Carroll's caring, relationship-based approach in 2017, he founded the Performance Science Institute at USC, which is a program designed to teach students about having a high-performing mindset and teaches students about acquiring a competitive advantage in any field, not just football. On this next slide, we have a 1-minute video of Pete Carroll and his A Better LA. mission. We found this video to be very inspiring and hope to bring some awareness to this mission.
My ultimate goal within my organization is to end gang violence and to save our kids within our community and give them hope, give them opportunity to grow, give them opportunity to be somebody, be a politician, to be a law enforcement, to be a doctor. You can actually start something and create a model for change and hope, and then be able to spread that change and hope out. If you be able to provide the resources that you need within the community, you'll be able to solve the problem.
Hi everyone, I'm Anthony. We're going to go into now some of the data and statistics that demonstrate Pete Carroll's effectiveness as a leader. And as you'll be able to see, he's successful using almost any metric. He is one of just 3 coaches to win both a Super Bowl and a college national championship. He won 2 championships at USC and led the Trojans to a 3rd title game, and he led the Seahawks to their first ever Super Bowl win, and they came within a yard of winning a 2nd championship. He has the highest winning percentage of any USC football coach in history, and he is the winningest Seahawks head coach of all time. His leadership style has proven to change organizations for the better. The Trojans had just 2 winning seasons in the 5 years prior to his arrival. They had not won a bowl game in 6 years, and the Trojans had not won a national championship since 1978. Which of course changed when Carroll led the team to a title in 2003. In Seattle, he's led the Seahawks to 4 divisional championships. For some perspective, in the 33 years of existence before he arrived at Seattle, the Seahawks had won just 6 divisional championships. In Seattle, he's led the team to 7 seasons of double-digit victories, while the team had just 5 such seasons in the prior 33 years. For his work at USC and all its success, the Trojans were named the Sports Illustrated Team of the Decade for the 2000s. And after his tenure was over at USC, he had produced 3 Heisman Trophy winners, 34 All-Americans, and 53 NFL draft picks. So to wrap this all up for you, Pete Carroll is a successful leader who emphasizes focus, clarity, and belief in yourself. He's a transformational leader who works to enhance the motivations of his team and works to direct them towards a shared mission and vision. He also works extremely hard to develop relationships with his players. He's not solely focused on the end result, but instead works to maximize his players' potentials. Pete Carroll, just like any other leader, is not perfect. He's been criticized for the manner in which he left USC. When he left Southern California, the Trojans were given sanctions by the NCAA for recruiting violations. Although Pete Carroll was cleared of wrongdoing, it is argued that since he was in charge, he should have known about the violations and should have worked to stop them. That being said, it is proven that Pete Carroll is a leader who has learned from his past mistakes. And he is a leader who uses his platform to help and lead others in his community, as demonstrated by his work in A Better LA and with A Better Seattle. Thank you for watching our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it.